Y'all, if you would have heard the yell that I just let out right before this microphone turned on, because I'm getting text messages from somebody while I'm trying to do work that I should have done 2 days ago, but I had to take an emotional break because life was hard for a few seconds, and then I just started talking, you would think I was crazy. Hello, everyone. So, I'm at my girl Sydney kid's house. She had her whole head thrown back, laughing at me how I just jumped into it because she was in the middle of filing her fingernails when I hollered out like that. But yeah, this has been a busy week, and I have the liberty and freedom for just a few more days to be able to be like, I can't record a podcast right now until, things are settled. And I couldn't. I just simply couldn't. It was a lot going on. And now that is like 15 to 20 minutes worth of not going on, I can go ahead and deliver on this last album. I am going to do final thoughts as a separate episode. Ideally, this would have already been happening today, but there's things as a fan that I want to be able to share with you all and recap and whatnot during final thoughts. So we are on the last album. No, I'm not going to cry. That's my further assurance that my emotions are totally in order and in check, and they will be during the final thoughts segment. So instead of rambling for days in and days out, let's go ahead and get into the formalities. Yes. There's sponsor ads on this and social media hashtags when I promote it, but this show is truly supported by the efforts of McGualas, the most amazing fan base a little weirdo such as myself could ever have. So special shout out to my Patreon patrons, the student body, and the scholars who keep my vision of becoming your favorite Korean music historian, exploring all the industry from A to Z, a real thing. Yes, I know my voice is extra husky right now. Work with me, y'all. If you're interested in supporting the growth of this podcast and supporting content, please visit patreon.com/multifacetedacg. And for as little as $1 a month, you can help me be able to reach out to that one McGuala who sent me a DM who was like, your audio is like fun, but it could be better with my work. And I want to pay her. So let's make that happen. For this particular album, this last boy, the last one, second and final Korean studio album, and third and final studio album overall by 21. It released on Valentine's Day, 2014. So February 14, 2014 is when they released it. The contributions on this were all over the place. Production, of course, for the album was handled mainly by Teddy because, again, we've already established that it was Teddy Presents 21, brought to you by YG Entertainment's finance department. And there was contributions from Choice, or Choice 37 if you want to be more specific, Master Wu, who had helped with the previous album, as we acknowledged, Choi Pil Kang, and PJ. We've talked about PJ. And then there was someone named DP, so DEE, period, and then the letter P, as well as their illustrious, amazing leader, CL. Lyrics were written mainly by Teddy and CL and G-Dragon from Big Bang. When you say G-Dragon from Big Bang, it almost sounds ridiculous because, saying his name in the world of K-pop is in of itself enough. But G-Dragon of Big Bang, he helped with some, as well as Choi Pil Kang. If you're looking for who that is, English speakers, it's going to look to us as Choi Pil Kang. But we want to make sure that Choi is pronounced Choi. I know it's a little weird, but just work with me. It's only weird to us who did not speak Korean initially. That's all it is to it. This album, let's go to Wikipedia. Wikipedia tells you, I have to put on my formal voice now because we're reading. Quote, Crush was named the sixth best pop album of 2014 by Rolling Stone and one of the best 40 K-pop, not K-pop, one of the best 40 pop albums of 2014 by Fuse. The album also ranked at number 11 on Billboard's year-end world albums list, marking the first time, let me get in the microphone, marking the first time a K-pop band has placed on the chart since its inception. I want to read it one more time because there's some people out there who need facts. Now, granted, I know we live in a time and space continuum where even when the facts are presented, people still embrace the ignorance that they have. But just for, kicks and giggles, The album also ranked at number 11 on Billboard's year-end World Albums list, marking the first time a K-pop band had placed on the chart since its inception. I love histrionics. It makes my toes curl just a little bit. We're not going to denounce the controversy that was associated with this album, and I'm going to talk about that more in just a moment, but I want to give you the ranking. So, K-pop fans on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being essential listening and 1 not worth mentioning, the A3Day rating for Crush is a 5. Back-to-back 5s for these ladies. Now, one of these was far more 5 ranked because of the amount of energy that was financially put into promotion and backing it. This was a solid album that left so many people wanting more, and we'll never get the more. It'll never happen. We had K-pop, which again, we talked about in this podcast series when Wikipedia started actually putting that as a genre in and of itself. But K-pop, hip hop, R&B, electro pop, dance pop. It was released on YG Entertainment as well as KT Music. And that's a label we've not spoken about on here. KT Music was a division of Genie Music. Now, we did go in and talk about the way KT Music was listed in the previous album. And we talked about a little bit of its distinctions, but we have not gotten into the depths of talking about labels. And I think those will be special episodes. I think it'll be special episodes to kind of talk about some of the major conglomerates that are here, as well as some of the mid corporate and low levels. At some point, we're going to have to articulate that. Because even though I feel I gave a decent description in the previous episode, it's nice to know about some of the marketing tactics, some of the groups that are associated with some of the labels. You'll start to see some patterns, some behavioral things that are, oh, that's so SM, or oh my gosh, that's such a JYP thing. That's so Pledis. And you'll start to see it in the consistencies and inconsistencies of how the groups are marketed. So, oh Lord, excuse me. There were 4 singles from this. Technically, the humor in this, there's some songs that we've not spoken about because they were single releases. And that's what's killing me, but that's what we're going to talk about in Final Thoughts. Because again, this is just discography, not singles. The song I Love You, which a lot of you might be familiar with, this was associated as a part of the Japan release. That song came out in 2012, but I assume just by this little notation that it did appear on the album when it was released in Japan. And it was released in Japan March of 2014, March 19th. So Come Back Home was the lead single, which had this amazing, fiscally insane video. And that came out February 26th. They followed it May 21st with Gotta Be You. And then June 25th, they released Crush, which is the first song on the album. So, it just, man, the track listing, I'm trying to rein myself in already. Like, I want a fangirl, but we're gonna lead that. We're gonna lead that for Final Thoughts. The album Korean version had a total of 10 tracks. Album comes in at 35 minutes and 6 seconds. And you can literally let this baby ride. You don't have to skip anything. You can honestly let it play from start to finish, and it makes a lot of sense. It's almost as if it's a narrative of a relationship. You're coming into it with the confidence of, oh, I'm your crush. You want me. I'm everything. Things are a little bit rocky. It's looking like it might not work out. Could you please come back home? I really want us to be okay. And then, all right, it's working out. So it's Gotta Be You, which was one of the singles. And then things start heading to a direction of there's some conflict in this relationship. If I Were You is one of the tracks. Good to You, letting you know that you had a real good thing with me. CL breaks down, mental breakdown. But she's talking smack in that. So maybe her enthusiasm and motivation for herself, not her individually, but her, whoever the group might be the voice of when someone's listening to this album. She, he, whatever pronoun, is getting back into themselves. Happy is the next track. Then you have the Korean version of Scream, which was a song that was previously released in Japan. And you also have Baby I Miss You, and the unplugged version of Come Back Home closes it all up. It's a very cohesive album, and it was decently received. Since its release, another group that was just out here slamming everybody in the face with their music and continue to do so. EXO was on the charts with the best-selling K-pop album at the time, and as of recent history, which I'm sure it's been surpassed at this moment, this album broke their record. It was Exodus, which is not like it sold like 6,000 copies. And that number sounds small, but that's a lot of units. It also ranked for the highest charting K-pop album on the Billboard 2000, which we talked about. But in that process, it beat out their label mates Big Bang. It beat out Big Bang's Alive, which is a dynamic album, and it was a major shift in their sound. And Girls' Generation, TTS, Twinkle, respectively, knocked both of those out. But before we talk about the track that I feel you really need to listen to in this, I need to talk about the controversy of CL's solo song, MTBD, or Menboom, Mental Breakdown. There was an audio sample in it of a young boy reciting the Quran. They don't, and this is not the first, because there's other artists who have done it, both out of Korea and everything. What they are hearing is melodic sounds. And they're seeing in a sample casing, and I'm taking this from a producer standpoint, not making an excuse for it, nor am I trying to apologize for them. The decision was made. They did what they did. They dealt with the controversy, which I'm going to talk about. But from a producer standpoint, something that I have firsthand knowledge from, when you get a sound kit, there's all kinds of things in it. You have all kind of nuanced noises, random runs, vocalizations and things. Without having firsthand knowledge of knowing that's a prayer that was being done, it just sounds like some sounds. And they felt that it gave it a nice flair. That part, me saying they felt like it gave it a nice flair, is my personal interpretation. But everything before that was actual factual. So it struck a chord with people, especially the Muslim listeners, about the insensitivity of that. And it got to the point where there were actual death threats and things being posted on her social media, the team's social media as a whole. So they released an alternate version of it that omits the sample completely. But it was a big deal. So I don't want to just brush over that and be like, yeah, there was a controversy and boom. They found a way to deal with it, but it was after some serious handling had to be tended to. It racked in some awards. It got the MTV Iggy for Song of the Year, Gotta Be You. They also had, they were nominated during Mama 2014 for Come Back Home. They did walk away with Best Electronica Music from Melon Music Awards, as well as Best R&B Song for If I Were You. Their album was nominated for Album of the Year with Melon Music Awards, and award I'm not very familiar with, Bugs Music Awards, which I don't even know if it's still active. They got the top 10 album win for Crush, this album. So things went really well for them in terms of a final release. Now, the songs you gotta listen to Crush just for no other reason but to hear just how it was produced. It's fun. But the standout songs on this album, Come Back Home, which was their rendition of a song by their label CEO to their own degree. If I Were You, that's a definite one that you need to listen to. CL was flexing all over that, and there's been a lot of conversation in the past about whether or not this album had the energy that it had because CL had went through a major breakup. There's no confirmation, but there's no denial either. And then another one that's a major win on here is Happy. Happy has this refrain that's very enjoyable and really gets stuck in your head. And I feel like it's just a fun album for you to experience. So those are my recommendations concerning all of this magic. And I really hope that you check this album out. It might be the only album that you were familiar with of theirs. And we will do our final thoughts, and I'll just go ahead and get into some more nitty gritty things I want to share about these wonderful women in this group that still apparently, by emotion, holds my bias list very high. Bye, y'all. An album a day is my exploration into the Korean music scene. This podcast will cover mainstream, indie, and some underground artists within the scene and provide both factual and opinionated commentary. The biggest benefit to sharing my thoughts this way is that it will hopefully expose you to more great music and exploration of your own.
You're tuned into an album a day. Show start.
Hey y'all, Ashley here, better known as Multifacetedacg, and I want to thank you for checking out my podcast and rolling with the magic that's going on this show. If you happen to be listening to this on iTunes, could you please be a kind person and go right into the podcast and make sure to mark it and possibly leave a comment? Those things help with the exposure and the increased opportunities that come along with being a podcaster. It only takes a couple of seconds. I appreciate it. Bye, y'all.